Today on the Alpha Dad Show, Andrew, we have quite the honor. Are you excited, sir?
Oh, I'm so excited. This one I'm pumped for.
We were talking before the show, like one of our missions is like these are dream people I would love, like any guest we have on the show. It's like, man, I'd love to go to coffee with this person. I have like 1,001 questions, but most people just won't like take like hours out of the day to go sit down with coffee with you. But if you have a podcast, it goes up in likelihood that they might sit down with you. But I have like 1,001 questions for this guy. I'm so excited about it. We have from Colaw Fitness today, Mr. Charles Colaw.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Welcome to the show, sir. Welcome to the show.
Beautiful man. Great to see you guys.
Great to see you too, sir.
Great to have you on.
Andrew and I were talking about the show and like priorities for us, and we have like 7 things we're trying to hit, kind of 7 Fs, but on the list is fitness. And we're like, man, we got a lot of questions on it. And personally, in my area of the 7, this would be something that it's a ball that gets dropped for me a lot. And so I'm like, man, I really want somebody extra strong to come on. Finances, Andrew's so good at finances. We actually had him be the guest star on that one. He's the co-host of the show, but I'm like, hey, we need you to guest star on this one. But for fitness, we're like, man, we need somebody really good. We need somebody great. And when we were looking over the group of people that we knew, your name is so synonymous with fitness. It literally, like I think if you had a thesaurus and you looked at the word fitness, Colaw would be on the list.
It'd be right there.
of options. So
Yes.
I got to ask you, fitness wise, Colaw and fitness are synonymous with each other. Were they always that way? Have you always been a fitness guru?
Well, I would say in 8th grade, in 7th grade, I went to the Y, and I would go down to the whatever, the dungeon down at in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, and I started lifting weights a little bit, and I absolutely hated it. I went up and played basketball and wanted to have fun with my friends. But 8th grade, I started lifting weights. And ever since 8th grade, I've never missed a week of lifting weights or working out. Basically, lifting weights, it was my thing. I started seeing changes in my body, and it made me feel more confident. And I was like, you know what, this is a win. So yeah, I've been pretty much doing it since 8th grade, never missing a full week since 8th grade. I'm now 42. So yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. So you've been working out basically your entire life since 8th grade. You've never missed a week. You've been going and going. How much time do you spend in the gym? Like when you do work out, and when do you work out, and how much time are you spending in the gym?
I generally work out first thing in the morning. I do a 3-hour window right before my first professional appointment. So I wake up, I do a workout for about 45 minutes. I've got a gym at my house, or I've got a gym at our clubhouse just right down the street. I live in this little neighborhood. So I generally spend about 45 minutes in the gym, and then I'd come back, clean up, and then I got about an hour to kind of meta plan my day. So I got a 3-hour personal, and then clean up, and then so first hour is personal, second hour is clean up, and third hour is kind of meta plan. Make sure that I'm ready for mentally, and I got my checklist for the day.
So good. Did you grow up in a fitness family? Like, was your family pretty fit?
My mom and dad were very trim, and they ate pretty healthy. And my grandmother was definitely into like health and wellness and vitamins and stuff. And so I grew up around it, but nobody was like working out. And I kind of grew up in the day and age of like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, and all of those guys were like on movies, and I was always like wanting to get big and strong. Superman, all those Marvel characters. So all that stuff was influencing me too. So I was like, I want to get strong, and I realized you have to pick things up, put them down, lift weights, smooth the body. And I loved it. Once I started seeing a change, like I went to the gym, started seeing a change, and then I got hooked. So yeah.
That's great.
So you were 8th grade and starting to work out, and that's a pivotal time because like I feel like 8th grade, you're kind of like defining a new identity. Like when you go into high school, like you can completely change people between 8th grade and your freshman year there. So you started working out in 8th grade. You started seeing some changes there. When did this become like a profession for you? Like when did this become like, okay, I could do this? Like, cause now you own gyms, multiple gyms, across the country here, and it's now a profession of yours. And I know at some point in there you started training, but walk us through like, it went from like a personal thing into a professional thing.
Well, one thing was at first I was kind of got a lot of my height. I was 6'1" in 8th grade. And so I was about 135, 155. So I was very tall and thin, and I was very lean. I wrestled, and my brother was 2 years older than me. He was lifting weights, and he started, filling out his arms, his shoulders, his chest. And I noticed in the youth group, because we're going to, our church youth group, the girls liked him. And I was like, I want to be like my brother. So I'd go to the gym with him. I'd lift weights with him. And then as he would change, my body responded a little bit even better than his. And so all that to say, I started basically, it was kind of like, I mainly did it for basically to feel better about myself. Because, there's nothing more attractive than seeing somebody confident in their own skin. And it really did help me become more confident. Then when I would go play sports, it was so crazy because nobody lifted weights regularly. Like everybody says they go to the gym or do something, but nobody really did it consistently. Like I literally, just like, with business, Andrew, you do the stuff, you do the real estate, you follow the systems, you do checklists, you run a business, and all of a sudden you see your life really doing it. And other people talk about it, but they don't really do it. And so same thing with fitness. Like, so I would do my meals, do my workouts, and I guess I'm just like a nerd or something. I would just follow through with it, and my body would change. And when I go play sports, I like go back to wrestling. I like wrestle a guy, and I'm like, this guy's like Gumby. He's weak. So it's like you're just manhandling. It's like a man and a boy. So if a guy doesn't work out at all and you do, it's literally pound for pound. You're just so much more competitive. And so in 8th grade too is really at that age where, and I've trained a bunch of youth. I used to do a program called Press Club. It's called Promoting Respect, Endurance, Speed, and Strength. So I did strength and conditioning for 2 groups of 20 at the Y. I rented out a racquetball court, and we trained a bunch of kids. Anyways, but that age, right at that 8th grade age, that testosterone is surging, and it's like a natural steroid. Like literally in 3 months, you get your height, your body changes, you start getting body hair, the deepening of the voice, all that stuff. If you put in just a little bit of progressive overload onto the body, boy, you change a lot. And I really think if kids got into working out earlier, I would go talk about childhood obesity and stuff, but cause what they say, it's like, I can't remember the exact statistic. It's like 30% of 8th graders are already obese. And out of that 30%, the majority of them will be that way the rest of their life. But I really believe if you start working out and getting those habits early on, you can change a lot of those pathways and set points. Anyways, so
No, that's really good. Can I ask you a question on that real quick? While we're on that, because it's a question I had for further down the road, but while we're on this already, like when you see a really chubby little kid, you see like a 6-year-old or something, that's not the 6-year-old's decision, or like when you see a dog out walking and the dog's like way overweight or something, I'm like, that's a bad owner, that like you see a really obese kid, I'm like, that's a parent that dropped the ball. Eventually in that process, like you're talking about, eventually it's become a personal decision. If you're an overweight adult, that's not your parents' fault. It's, they might have contributed to it as a kid, but now you have some personal decisions to make. But I have 2 sons, and I was talking to my wife recently about being in 8th grade. I said, I was talking about these changes that are happening. I said, I don't understand it. And there's no way I can even explain it to you. But at some point, our boys are going to want to break something just because, like, they're gonna want to smash plates. They're gonna want to, like, I remember just like looking at something, like I'd see like this like beautiful mosaic or something. I just want to smash that, and I don't know why. Like I'd see,
it's just a natural like man and boy in us.
It is. Like I just want to break something. I don't understand it, but it's just like, yeah, exactly. It's this thing. But at what age, like, would you start lifting, with kids at 8th grade, or would you start working them out earlier? Or like, when would you begin? Like, you're talking about these kids on the racquetball court. Like, when do you start? Like, I have 2 young sons. They're very young right now. They're 2 and like 4 weeks old. So on a spectrum of like 4 weeks old to 8th grade, where would you start them working out?
Great question. Well, when I was doing Press Club, I also had an orthopedic surgeon that I was training as a client, and that was. What was his name? I can't remember, but the bottom line is a guy that was a buddy of mine down at the Y. And he told me, he said, here's the deal with like damaging a growth plate in the body or stunting growth. Like gymnasts work out and sometimes they quit gymnastics and then they grow another 4 inches. People talk about, stunted growth, or when's a good time to start doing progressive overload or weightlifting or things like that on the body. The bottom line is, like, to damage a growth plate, he told me that you got to like fall out of a tree or a car accident to really have those growth plates be severely damaged. And as long as you're doing, he said, basically, like if you're like push-ups, like most kids can't do 10 push-ups, like really strict push-ups, to be honest. Like their body weight itself is heavier than like a 5 or 10 pound dumbbell on a chest press.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
and
totally.
So for them to do 10 push-ups is actually heavier than just a 10 or 15 pound dumbbell. And so we kind of came up with a scenario to where as long as they could do 15 repetitions without failure, it's pretty much lighter than a lot of the body weight exercises. So I made sure that all progressive overload was sets of 15 plus because I did, what was it? Eighth and eighth, what was it? I can't remember the ages, but anyways, it was about eighth grade and up.
Okay.
It's actually younger than that. It was fifth and sixth, seventh and eighth, because it was before high. So I started with fifth and sixth graders. It was conditioning. It's lighter stuff, but those kids, you just see them kind of get trimmer. And then the seventh and eighth graders, as soon as when they hit eighth grade, that's when that growth spurt hits. Their muscles start to really develop. But if you ever look at like little lung gymnast girls, like even like 10-year-olds, they're chiseled. They like have abs and they have deltoids, because my daughter did gymnastics. She was ripped. She had abs and she had little capped delts and traps and stuff in 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old.
Yep.
And so the body will get in shape even without all of that. But at eighth grade, it really takes off. So yeah, fifth and sixth and seventh and eighth were the grades that I started doing youth press club, promoting respect, endurance, speed and conditioning with a little bit of progressive overload, sets of 15 plus, but nothing that would ever damage the growth plates. And Scott Cochran from Bartlesville, the orthopedic surgeon, he was the guy that was kind of helping with the programming to make sure that nothing was going to be harmful. Then I have him speak to the parents too, to kind of give them some assurance. And so, yeah, no concerns. Actually, it was a huge hit, because parents, when they see their kids getting healthier and making better choices, it was like I always had a waiting list. So fifth and sixth grade, 20 kids, and seventh and eighth grade, 20 kids. So yeah,
that's a good area.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I bet that like inspires the parents to get into shape as well. Something you had said earlier, I think you had a really, really good point there, where when you started working out, when you were back in eighth grade, you started seeing like these changes and you got more and more confident. And I think that's one of the things that almost makes it easier to continue working out. Like Absolutely. When you start to see the changes and you start to see the progression and you begin like seeing like the benefits from it. And I think that's like, for me personally, I put off working out consistently literally all my life until about 8 to 9 months ago. I've been like really being consistent about it and hired a personal trainer. And once I saw the effects that it had, it's now like really easy to go work out. I like want to go work out. It's fun. I'm like tracking it, seeing the different changes and everything. So I'm curious for you, what you've seen, whether it was with you personally or with, clients that you've worked out with and trained, what's typically the biggest thing that either stops people from starting, or what's the biggest thing that, the biggest hang up? Is it like nutrition? What's something that, is it the consistency, the schedule? What's typically the biggest thing that stops people from getting hooked and sticking to it and keeping going?
Great question. The hardest thing for people to do, like the Nike slogan, it says, just do it. People want motivation. Motivation's bullcrap.
Yeah. Yep.
It's really bullcrap. You're never going to like literally I always tell people, like, if you want to go to the gym, best thing to do is just get in the car, tell yourself you're going to walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes and get down there. And as soon as you get down there and you start moving your body, what happens is that motion of moving your body starts to release serotonin and dopamine. You ever heard of the runner's high or the pump?
Yep.
When you start moving, your motivation starts to pick up. Have you ever gotten into work? You're like, man, I'm so tired. I don't want to go to work. I know, Andrew, you get up early. So it's like you don't want to do it. But by the time you get, 2 or 3 things down on your checklist and you start to move, you're like, I'm going, you keep going. And so a lot of times it's just your emotions. Like, so many people are emotionally lazy and they let their emotions hold themselves hostage and screw themselves every day. And motion is the solution. So the first thing you got to do is say, okay, I don't feel like working out. I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to drive down there and then I'm going to start walking on the treadmill, start moving. And then by the time you're done with 5 minutes, you're like, I'm here anyways. I might as well do a chest press. Then you're like, I might as well do try my arm curls. And then next thing you know, you've done 10 things and you feel good. You leave and you're like, dude, I just did a 40-minute workout. I got a great little pump. I feel good. And then you're like, now I'm excited about eating healthy. But the thing is you can't wait around for you to feel like you want to do it. You have to actually take the motion before, because motion before emotion. You have to force your motion, because the emotion will follow the emotion. So for myself, like every morning when my alarm gets up, I'd like to hit the ground and I go straight in. I hit my pre-workout and I go out to my garage. I've got a garage gym. and I pound out about a 45-minute workout. And I just don't think
love
about
that.
it. If I think about it, I won't do it. So
Yeah.
I literally, as soon as the alarm goes off, I'm like, get my feet off. I do a countdown, 3, 2, 1, get my feet on the floor. And then I go straight out there, slam my pre-workout and a 16-ounce bottle of water, just crush a whole 16-ounce bottle of water, go out there. And then I start doing some warm-ups. And then in about 15 minutes, it hits you. It's like your body starts to wake up, tingly. And you're like, I feel good. And you start moving. Next thing you break a little bit of a sweat. And then 45 minutes later, I'm walking in the house, jump in the shower, rinse off, and I feel like $1,000,000. And
From a tactical perspective, do you have your pre-workout ready to go the night before?
You can. I got all my stuff. I walk into my little laundry room and got all my little accoutrements all ready to go. So I just grab this and I grab this. I got it all lined out. So it's
okay.
It's a very routine.
Yeah.
And but you have to figure out what works for you. But I know if you think about it, if you think about wanting to get in the gym, it will F you every single time.
Yeah.
Like you cannot stop and think, oh, do I want to do this? Should I do this? Or maybe I could do it at the end of the day. Let me try to like I do the 3, 2, 1 because 3, 2, 1 is makes you want to go do something, or it's like 3, 2, 1 blast off.
Yep.
So
I think people think when they hear that, we wake up early or we get to the gym early, they think that it's enjoyable and we're some sort of freaks that really, really like it. I hate it. It's not fun. It's not fun getting up at 3 and 4 a.m. and whether it's doing cardio or just getting to the office or whatever. It's not fun, but it's what's required. It's what has to happen. So I love what you said there. It's for me personally, I set my stuff up in the morning so it's a lot easier to do, and I just do it so that way there's no excuse of where's this? Where are my shoes for the Peloton? I don't know where. I'll just wait for later. So I think it's a great idea to get things set up and just pushing through and getting it done. It makes so much sense. Do it.
Action over emotion. Action over emotion. Yep. You cannot wait to feel like it. It's like business. I can't wait to have the perfect bank account to go try to start this business. I can't wait to have the perfect. I want to lose 30 pounds before I go to the gym. Then I'll feel okay about going. Hey, just do it. That's like that night. Just do it. The more you think about it, the more it'll screw you. I had a guy. I've been working with a guy for 4 weeks. He came in yesterday. I took his measurements. He's down 23 pounds of fat loss.
Nice.
That's great.
14 muscle gain, 23 fat loss, 14 muscle gain, and it's been 4 weeks, only 4 weeks. And so he came in, we took measurements on him. And at week 2, he was like, I have not been going to the gym regularly. I've been following the food right. I've been doing some of the stuff, but I've been missing some workouts. My buddy's not showing up at the gym. And I was like, I have a connection with him. I'm like, hey man, don't waste my time. I'm not going to help you. I go, no more, no less than exactly what's on the sheet.
Come on. I love that. So question for you.
So then the 2 weeks into it, he came back and he's really, really rocking. He's like, I'm going to the gym every morning at 5. And he's like, and all his measurements moved a whole lot more. Anyways, bottom line, he's super pumped. He's like, you were right. He's like, I loved it when you got hard. He's like, I'm so glad you got hard on me. And I was really busy, and I'm helping him from church, and it's like one of those helping somebody for not the money for sure, kind of thing.
Yep.
And I was just hard on him. I had another appointment, so I'm just jumping in and out because we got 6 companies, and I'm on Zoom calls all day long. So he came in, take measurements, give him a checklist, build the new notebook. He's got a food journal, what to eat, what time to eat, how much water to drink, what supplements to take, all in the programming. So that stuff. Then he shows up and dude, you got freaking 4 workouts you missed last week. Here's I love you, but don't waste my time. You're either gonna do it or you're not gonna do it. And
I think that's a key thing.
Book, and I handed it back to him, and he came back in 2 weeks, and it was spot on. And he was like, I talked to my wife. It was very intimidating. And I was like, dude, my highest desire is just to help you, but you got to do it. Yeah. So, anyways.
I think that's a key thing. I think as men, we a lot of times we kind of pansy around situations, certain conversations and stuff. But I think most people's fitness journeys, especially either business or fitness, usually begins with a tough conversation like that, where someone calls you out, someone tells you, you're being a pansy. That's not going to work.
The cool part, this guy's over 300 pounds. He's 28. He's got to make a change, and he's got to have it's not just fitness or look good. It's he has to make some changes. He's got 2 kids. He wants to be a good example, and he's been I did a 8th grade Bible study with a group of guys at our youth group, and he was in that group. He kind of co-led it, and yeah, I love him, but it's like, dude, like you got to get your crap together. Like you're going to, you're going to have super serious issues. His dad has a bunch of health issues, and so I mean, we talked about it. So we had the relationship that I could push in.
Yeah.
Good.
I know one thing is Clay, we all have a mutual mentor in Clay Clark. One of the things he talks about a lot is what you measure, you can monitor, what you monitor, you can control. And so we got to measure these things, right? I think it's easy to get off track, especially if you're not measuring things. But like, let's say I'm driving down the road. If I'm not going to end up in the ditch if I'm listening for that sound on the side of the road. If I'm listening for those margins, I know I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna stay on this side of the road. I'm gonna stay on the road. What are some like in the fitness journey? Like because I feel like it's easy, if you're like 250 and you're overweight to hear that story. Like, well, I'm not 300, and I'm not this. Like, it's easy to kind of have those like, well, I'm not in the ditch, but like, what would you consider to be some on the side of the roads in the fitness journey that people should like, okay, I need to like take this seriously. Like, I know my mom has always been fit. She's always stayed, in a great shape, always, maintained weight, but she always measures it. Like she's always at least once a week, she gets on a scale. She's always tracking, she said her goal is to always stay within about a 5-pound window as far as her weight goes, body fat percentage, like she's got some ceilings that she established because in her early 20s, she did gain a lot of weight. And it was, an accident. She was always an athlete. And then when she stopped playing sports, it was easy to kind of gain weight. And so she's like, okay, I'm going to set some ceilings here on where I'm allowed to get to. But what would you consider like some guardrails for men out there, like some warning signs that they need to like take this more seriously?
Okay, well, I definitely think, I'm now 42. I think for guardrails, I know I'll just use myself to start off. Like for me, when I was in high school, I was 303. I lost at the heaviest. So I was skinny and I bulked up. Actually went from 150 to 303 at my highest in high school. I powerlifted and I played football. And at one point, if you go to Colaw Fitness, if you go to colawfitness.com and you click on, I think it's personal training, and then you scroll down, it'll have pictures of me before I lost weight and then after I lost weight. If you go to personal training and you scroll down, keep going down. If you go down, there's a picture of me there, right there. And you scroll in. That's in high school. I played football, powerlifted. I got up to 303, and then I eventually I lost 83 pounds.
Wow.
With a trainer. Lost 83 pounds with a trainer, and then I got into fitness and bodybuilding. But the biggest thing was I was skinny, and then I had a coach kind of help bulk me up. And then I remember I went to Taco Bell, and I was probably I'm this huge 6'4", 300-pound dude, and this kid was like, I'm sitting there by myself, and I had like my Mexican pizza and like 12 tacos and my Dr. Pepper,
You got it all.
Trusting it.
And all I cared about was eating a lot and lifting and playing football and powerlifting. And I remember he said something about a fat guy, and you don't see my stomach in there, but you could grab like my stomach was like a chunk like this, you could grab a 5, 6, 7-inch chunk, you know what I'm saying? And I was still, I wasn't just all fat, but I was definitely not trim, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so I remember thinking, the kid said something about a fat guy. Kids are very honest.
Yeah.
And so I go back to the table, and I said to my best friend, I'm like, dude, he go, do you think I'm fat? And he said to me, oh, you're just big boned. I go, dude, we grew up together. I was skinny, I wasn't always big boned. And he's like, well, look what you're eating. You can't eat all like that all the time. And so the bottom line is at that point, I realized that that was kind of like for me where I felt like, I guess I am kind of getting out of shape and I need to try to tone it down. And it's not, because I got so focused. I'm a goal person. I'm an extremist. So if it's like, I'm going to weight and get big, then I got really big and I pounded calories, lifted weights, and I got really big and chubby, like a power lifter or a world strongman. And I was super strong. And then there's a point where you're like, now I'm kind of getting too far out to not being healthy. And I guess for me, it's like when I sit down and my stomach's like more than an inch or two over my belt, then I'm like, you know what? I probably need to start dialing some of the calories to be healthier. So those were some of the things like for me that started me off. And then what are some stuff for guys? The biggest thing is when somebody's comfortable and confident in their own skin, I think that's a huge deal. And when you know you're following something like surgical, and you're following a nutrition plan, a workout plan, and you see the changes, your confidence goes up. It carries over into into all areas of your life, your business life. And so I guess for me, the biggest thing is I don't want to go back to being, sloppy and soft. And so and now it's not so much being big, it's just trying to stay toned and healthy in the long run. But for young guys, what's those little, definitely, when you're if you're having like I've had like your heart and your stomach, like basically if your stomach's not where you want it to be, or your blood pressure is not where I want it to be. You've got all these different medical factors too. But most young people are your age for your target demographic. It's mainly just more cosmetic. But yeah, I just say most of those guys, like, are you confident, or you feel good about yourself, or do you want to make a change? It's very simple. Like, Maker, South Beach, Paleo, Atkins, all these different types of diets. Fundamentally, you go back to what God created: stem, stalk, leaf, vegetation, lean proteins. You don't walk out of Oklahoma Prairie and see cookies running across the prairie, Snickers. You didn't laugh at that stuff. You have what would be there? Well, you would have some sort of stem, stalk, leaf vegetation growing, and then nuts and seeds would be seasonal. So it's even fruits and stuff are seasonal. And then you'd have some sort of lean protein, or you'd fish. So you'd hunt or fish. So if you go back to what God created, it's more of this like lean natural maker's diet. And so when you go back to lean proteins, and you go back to stem, stalk, leaf vegetation, fundamentally a lot of the diets, pretty much the 0 point system, or the point system, like on Weight Watchers or the low calorie programs, or whether it's Atkins or paleo or bodybuilder diets, fundamentally it's the high fiber stem, stalk, leaf vegetation is kind of one of the ones that are the highest toted, along with lean proteins. And so you eat those types of components in repeat fashion, and you do progressive overload, progressively use heavier resistance. Your body, just like if you dig a ditch, you dig a ditch, you eventually kind of get a blister in your hand. You keep working with your hands, they eventually turn into calluses. And so as you're doing this progressive overload, and you're eating a nitrogen-rich, protein-rich diet, your body has a natural adaptation process. Just like it adapted from a blister to toughen up and to get a callus, your body will adapt and build a better, stronger musculature, and your cardiovascular system through raising and lowering your heart rate, vasodilation, cleanses your arteries and veins from plaque and buildup, and strengthens and supports the vasodilation effect. So all that stuff, when you're putting stimulus against your body, you're going to get stronger. Your heart and lungs and circulatory system is going to work better. And so the whole thing is doing those things. And if you're not, if you feel tired all the time, you feel lethargic, you feel soft, you don't feel strong, you're not doing, as long as you do about 40 minutes probably, I would say 40 minutes is really, if somebody did 40 minutes of exercise, even like 3 times a week, if it's fairly intense. And there's a study out for like heart stuff. If you do your target heart rate 20 minutes 3 times a week, your chance of heart attack and stroke drops by 3-fold.
Wow.
So just your heart rate up. So that's one hour a week can drop. This is not changing weight, but just 1 hour a week of exercise could drop the chance of heart attack and stroke. So that's like me going out for like a 20-minute jog 3 times a week. And that's not changing my diet. The studies will show, from Kenneth Cooper at the Cooper Institute. It's like a 20-year study on cardiovascular health. But men that have done that drop the chance, because what you do is you vasodilate, you kind of clean out the plumbing. Your circulatory system is constantly being stimulated. The endothelial lining in those veins. You're teaching your body how to clean out. And so all that to say, your body drops. It's a heart attack, stroke, and diabetes. Those are all the top killers in America. And that can be reduced just by 20 minutes 3 times a week of just getting at your raising your heart to your target heart rate. And so those are things that can be done that are simple. I also know that if you're not eating that type of food, and you don't move your body over time, you're just going to continue to get softer. Your body, a body in motion stays in motion. So you want to keep those routines. But I guess, I don't know if that answered that question.
Yeah, 100%.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, I think there's a lot there. There's a lot of really good information and knowledge there. And sometimes as guys, I think we might be overwhelmed and not like we don't know where to start, or because there's you gave a lot of great information, but some people might not know what that means or anything like that. I think it's so important that people get and find a coach that can actually like help them through those, because there's so much with our bodies. There's like so much to know, so much to learn, whether it's nutrition, fitness, the right fitness, because then everyone else is different. You know, you've got different goals, you've got different needs for your diet, your nutrition, for your exercise, and everything there. So how does somebody find like a good coach? I know people sometimes struggle with that because they might see ads for a coach, they might drive by a personal trainer on the way to work, and they're trying to find a good coach. How does somebody find a good personal trainer or nutrition coach?
Okay, I would say that what I would look for and what I've encouraged people to do, say, find a coach that has a similar story that you are in and where you want to go. And you know that they have, if you basically, like, let's say, Andrew, you're wanting to put on 20 pounds and you meet a coach that was similar body type at your age or whatever, and he has put on that and done that. He's kind of done that test of changing himself physically. Then I would say that person would probably be the most closely related to give you the most accurate information that what he did to help be successful. So for me, I had bulked up and I have cut down. And so definitely if you're trying to bulk up and you're like a, ectomorph and you're very thin and you naturally have a hard gainer, it's hard for you to put muscle and size on, but you have a fast metabolism, you have a tendency to not store adipose tissue and fat tissue. I can definitely, carbs are very, anabolic, and they can be anabolic towards muscle tissue and fat tissue. So you have to time those correctly. And so, yeah, but if you have a coach that's done fitness and bodybuilding and changed their body a lot, that's the reason why I went into bodybuilding, because you see these people that have a body and they completely change the way it looks. And so I think for visual effects, that's what they specialized in. Now it's not sport performance, but they visually had made those changes. So if I want to really make a visual change, have a coach that has done what you've done, that's what you're wanting to do, and show you. And he has a plethora of before and after photos. The biggest thing is I would say, like, prove it, like just like with business coaching, results. You have tons of proof, social proof. So if the guy has literally, you can see thousands of clients he's worked with that have lost weight, similar story. He has a similar story. That's probably a coach that you could be pretty confident. And then also when you talk to him, you can tell that he really wants to help you. Like his highest desire is your greatest gain. Just like Clay, he coaches me, and there's like half the time I'm like, gosh, that sucked, but it's good. I needed it. A good coach will push you, right?
Call you out when you're not doing stuff. Like I love that you told the kid that was coming to your office, like, hey, I love you, but
I was like,
don't waste my time.
What are we doing? Like,
right.
Well, I did this. I go, what else in your? Because he dropped like, I can't remember, like 12 pounds of fat in 2 weeks. I was pissed. He's 309. I was like, I've done this. No, I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I know how this diet works. I know how big you are. You're a young guy. If you've been putting in the 300 to 500 calories, basically you've been doing basically about an hour of cardio every day, and you're doing the workouts I've been giving you and the diet that they had, he would definitely, just from water weight that he would pull, because his diet was so bad with starches and sugars in his diet. So I go, he would pull 10 pounds of water. So in my mind, I'm thinking, you've really lost 2 pounds of weight, and a lot of it's water. And so I was pissed. I know he could do better. Wow. So my whole point is I've just trained enough that I knew he was doing. And so I weigh him, measure him, and then I pull out his journal, because every one of these, I have every day recorded, every meal recorded, every time it's timed, and they just check boxes. And so I have it very, very surgical. And so when I look at it, I'm like, yeah, you're doing okay. They're like, dude, where's the workout? He's like, well, I haven't done that yet. My friend's going to meet me. We're going to start working out at the house. And it's like, dude, your friends will always let you down. You do it no matter what. That's like your deal. Right. That's your deal. You've got to make it your deal. And,
now, if people are wanting to work with you specifically,
we had a heart to heart. He pivoted hard, and it made a big difference. And now he's like, I'm so glad you got me. He actually said, I talked to my wife. It really intimidated me. I almost thought about not coming back, but I did what you said, and I'm so glad I did.
Yeah. Well, in those tough conversations, you either blow someone up and they don't come back, or you blow them up and they stay in it for their life. It's one of those type of situations.
It's like when you get results in those last 2 reps, that last rep that burns, that's like 99% of the results. Oh, I skip that. And you realize, why am I not getting gains? Well, you didn't really go to failure.
That's good. That's so good. Now, if people want to work with you, obviously you're a professional in this space. You started out in 8th grade. You lost weight at Taco Bell. You've been on quite the journey here. But if people want to work with you, you have an amazing gym. You have several all over the country here. How do people connect with you guys? I know colawfitness.com, but how do people connect with you guys, with your mission, with your, when we got on, I was like, hey, Charles, what would be the big win for you today? What's the big win? He goes, man, if I could spread the message of Jesus, if we could spread the message of fitness, those would be my 2 key things. So you talked about Bible studies on here, but what would be the way that people can connect with you guys and what you're doing?
Okay, the best way to go to probably see, I go to colawfitness.com and you can contact us. Where's that at? Somewhere on there. Contact. Yeah, and you can fill out a form there, and that will get the message to I got 2 personal assistants or our customer service department, and then they can get information to me. But you just leave a message, submit a form there, and we can go from there. But we got 6 locations: Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri, and Kansas. Our goal is to make Jesus famous and change lives. If you think of Planet Fitness, have you ever heard of Planet Fitness?
I've heard of it a couple times.
Yeah, Planet Fitness.
That's the pizza place, right? They serve pizza there. Is that the mission? Okay.
I tell people Planet Fitness is basically like the McDonald's of gyms, right?
Yeah.
And so Colaw Fitness, we are going to be the Chick-fil-A of the gym industry. So that's come on.
I love it. I love it.
That's our mission. And if you go to our About Us story, you can learn about us. If you go to contact us, we can respond back. But you go to the About Us story, you can learn about it. Our mission is to make Jesus famous and to change lives through the platform of these gyms. And we are unapologetic with our faith. We got little scriptures on the wall. We play Christian music. We play The Chosen on our TVs. We build water wells in Africa on church sites, so people that come get water, 2,000 to 30,000 people will use that well, and they'll come and hear the gospel along with getting the water. So not just life and the body, but life, like positive life from the Lord. I love it. So anyways, we do that. We do anti-bully curriculum in the States, anti-bullying and character curriculum with Fight for the Forgotten. So we donate the first dollar of every membership to these not-for-profits. And we want to make Jesus famous, change lives. Our staff, we pray at all of our staff meetings, all of our team huddles with our crew in the location. We do spiritual formation with our staff. It's all about pointing people to the cross, and we do it, devotion to God, discipline and living, denial of self, dream great dreams for God's glory, determination to stay the course. Those are the 5 Ds that was above my headboard as a kid. My dad was a pastor. My grandfather got a flat tire and founded the location of Oklahoma Wesleyan University, and he planted like 30 churches in Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri. And we've got 6 clubs that are open now. And our goal is 7, and then do franchising or owner-operator partnerships, because it's a lot of money to open these. And so I would definitely do partnerships with people and do revenue splits with the right people that want to make Jesus famous and change lives. But
come on, that's awesome. I didn't see any lunk alarms inside your gym either. Is that that's not part of the brand?
We have a lot of things that are great for the beginner fitness person, but we do have a lot more free weights, and we don't have a lunk alarm. We do have dumbbells up to 100s, so not just 70. And so we do encourage real people that are more real weightlifters type people, but it's all about the culture, and it also spans leadership down and how you staff it. Think about McDonald's. You got the purple hair, perpetually distracted, tattoo brand mark all over themselves, or you've got the person running up to your car, sweating, saying "my pleasure" at Chick-fil-A. And that's pretty much what you get. You get the difference of the two. And we are still like a lower end cost gym, but we do have more for the user as far as in fitness offerings. So it's a little more fitness offering. It's not always as cheap as Planet, but we do have more value.
Yeah. Well, I love what you guys are doing, man. You guys are helping create alphas, and that's our main mission over here. So colawfitness.com, get connected to these guys, help make Jesus famous and your body shredded. So go to colawfitness.com. And if you're listening to this on podcast platforms, go to Rumble, do yourself a service, look at how strong this guy is, how awesome he is. We've been playing B-roll of his gym and his wife and the family there. And you guys got to go check this place out, colawfitness.com. They're doing the right stuff. Charles, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Oh man, Andrew, are you ready for this? This is our favorite part of the show.
That's right. It's that time. I'm excited.
It is that time again, reacting to stuff off of the internet. Is it alpha? Is it not alpha? We are the judges. We have a stamps of approval or disapproval.
That's right.
denial. And I'm so excited. Guys, if you guys have interesting things to send us, you want to send us some stuff, you can go to our Instagram, Alpha Dad Show on Instagram, or you can email us at info@alphadadshow.com with any links. With that said, Andrew, should we hop into this thing?
Let's do it.
Video 1, let's go.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left, because I've been blasted.
Have you seen this guy before?
I've seen him before. I've seen him on the internet, and he's got some really good content. I've never worked out with my garage door open, but I've multiple times driven through my neighborhood and been like just watching these dudes working out, just flexing in front of everybody. And I'm like, man, maybe I should start doing that.
Well, last year I was working out at Orange Theory was my workout of choice. So you go, kind of set it, forget it. You don't really think about it. You go in, you work out, and then I talked to my wife and I was like, I think we should build a gym at our home. And so we turned our entire basement into a gym. It's super cool. It's like tons of equipment, but I don't think there's very few things. You know, it's cold in the morning. We got those rubber gym mat floors down there. Yep, but you work out at home, it's like it's just you know, I had metal weights there for a long time. It's just awesome, you know. And then I started like 2 weeks ago. One of the workouts that I did, it had me do stair steps. And so the best stairs that I could do that on, so you have the bar over your shoulders, 45-pound plates. And then I was like, I'm going to walk up the front steps just to flex on the other Alpha Dads out there. It was like 6 in the morning. I'm like, I'm flexing on the Alpha Dads. I want to start mixing in some of my workouts, though, with the garage door open, because I want to make sure they know Alpha Dad's out there making it happen.
It's great because you can, like, if you go to a gym, then you're not with your kids. But if you have a home gym, then your kids can get involved and you can start like exercising earlier.
Yep.
Like I was home last couple weeks ago and jump roping, and Lincoln's like, I want to jump rope. He obviously can't jump rope because he's 2, but he was like, he sees it, and it's I don't know. I think it's great. It's a great family thing to do. It's awesome.
Yeah. My daughter and I, we did a bunch of push-ups the other day. She got about 3 in, and then after that, they were like knees.
That's great.
And looked more like she was doing the worm, you know, pushing her body up. It's pretty funny.
Until failure, let's go. Come on.
Exactly. I'm like, we got this. You can do this body weight. We got her a little kettlebell, and she does that. We have her hold on to the bar for the pull-up bar and just hold on as long as she can. So we do competitions between her and my son, so you can hold on longer. So yeah, it's a bit of a group. I try to make it as fun as possible, but fun with fitness. I think that's important.
Have to. Love it.
All right, next one. You ready?
Let's do it.
Threw him on the ground.
That guy, he just right before, he's like pre-workout, and he just goes. I don't know what that was.
He's like, do I take this up the nose or do I drink it? How do I take pre-workout?
Right.
You know,
a little too much.
The importance of strength in combat. You know, I think that's an important piece. You know, you can get the technique. I think that's important. There's a guy also out there. I can't remember his name. I think it's Devin or something like that. But he does like really heavy weightlifting, and then he also does jujitsu. But he's only like a blue belt in jujitsu. But a lot of times he has to go against the brown belts because he's like 265, like solid muscle. But like when you have that much muscle and that much strength, you know, I don't care what kind of arm bars you have. That's a lot of strength you're throwing at it. So
it's like what Charles Colaw was talking about in our interview with him. He's like, when I started working out and then I went to wrestle, he was like, oh, it was so easy. I was just throwing them around, and it was like, am I in the right weight class? What's going on here? It's just like, you know, if you exercise and you work out and you build muscle, I don't know. And it's wrestling, fighting, whatever. It's a useful skill to have. So no downsides.
I know you've been doing some boxing in the mornings, right? On Sunday morning boxing, you getting that boxing in. How important for alpha dadness is combatives and wrestling and being able to do stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it's a very important thing. Just you know, for multiple reasons. It's great cardio, so everyone should be able to move quickly without getting tired. So if you need to get to a situation or get out of a situation quickly, the last thing you want is to be like trying to help or save somebody or your family, and you're like, like out of breath. Like that's pretty bad. So it's great for that. It's like it gives you the endurance. Also, just knowing how to move and how to fight is a great skill to have. The last thing you want is to be in a situation where you need to protect your family, and you can't. I guess you can always, most of the time, you can carry a gun or whatever, but you don't want to like escalate a situation all the way.
You don't
like,
want that to be tier one. Tier one defense. I got the gun.
Yeah, because you like, I don't know if people think about this. I think about this, but I'm like, man, if you go to that level, there's repercussions for the rest of your life that you got to deal with. So as a man, I think it's good to have step 1, step 2, step 3, and you can work your way up, and you have to mentally train yourself. What situation is this? Is this a situation where we just need to create space? I need to make something happen, create space and get out and get the family out? Or is this like a tier 10 situation so mentally it's really, really good. Physically it's great. And it gives you just more confidence. Like if you're in a weird situation, it's like, this probably would go bad, but I think I can get out of this situation, because that's the ultimate goal. Just get out, get the family out, get the kids out, like get out of there. And anyway, I've been loving it. Boxing, I'd highly recommend it to anybody.
I know on our F7s we never cover firearms. Is not one of the F7s. I think we should add like the 8th F. Just call it firearms. And you walk us through all the stuff on the back of your wall over there. That'd be a fun show. All right, should we do this third reaction? Ready?
Let's do it.
3, 2.
I think that the morning really actually starts the night before. I plan the night before. I know what I'm going to do the moment I wake up. And then upon waking up, I pretty much just start getting to work. And I have my first 4-6 hours of the day dedicated to moving those things forward. The second thing is I try and decrease the amount of decisions that I have to make throughout the day. I eat the same thing every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The third piece is set an alarm for your bedtime rather than your wake up time. It's a tiny little hack, and I think it'll do you a lot of good. Those are the things that have actually yielded me disproportionate returns. I've tried the gratitude journals. I've tried the saying things out loud, the affirmations. I've tried all of these different things. The things that stuck were the things that were simple. And I think that a lot of times people who look into all these productivity hacks, look into all these routines, many times use that as a crutch to feel productive rather than actually getting work done.
We had somebody on recently. That shared on the FLYOVER Conservative show. He's like, I have an hour and a half morning routine, and I was like, an hour and a half morning routine. That's a significant morning routine. I like whenever you first thing out of the day, whatever you do first is what you're prioritizing. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I actually really like what he said there, because if you spend any time on social media, you're going to run into this. You're going to be like, all right, when I wake up at 3 a.m., the first thing I do is I slam pre-workout. Then I get in an ice bath. Then I go for a run. And then and then it's like, it's so long. But it, like, maybe there's health benefits, maybe there's some effects, but the more complex you make it, the more likely that you're not going to do it. And I see people try to add and add and add all these things to their morning routine. Well, at the end of the day, it should be the opposite. It should be simplify. And I really like what he was saying of prepare the night before. Yep. Because if you prepare the night before, and for me, what that looks like just practically, is I'll lay out like some workout clothes with my socks and my shoes. If I don't have my socks and my shoes right there, I'm like, I don't really want to walk all the way to the closet and like find socks but if it's right there, then I'm like, all right, I can't not, it's right there,
Yeah.
So I just get up and do it. So I think the one of the big things in that is simplifying from complex morning routine to my morning routine is roll out of bed. That's the morning routine. Roll out of bed, get dressed, and then try to get some cardio in and get to the office as soon as possible to get started.
I love it. Eliminate as many decisions as possible in the morning, because I feel like there's like morning man and there's night man. Like night Colton is a very motivated, like he sets the alarm early. He's excited. Morning Colton, I get stuff done, but it it doesn't happen because I'm hyper motivated. It happens because I've already made the decision this is about to happen. There's not like this extra like, oh, I feel like, I woke up this morning, I'm going to run an extra 15 miles. I feel amazing this morning. It's like, I got to get up there. I got to do it. I got to do what I said I was going to do. And then immediately, the action creates momentum. And so I think that's a very important thing. But if you can create that first action, have your stuff set out the night before, it's a huge, huge, huge hack. Never go to bed with dishes in the sink. Make sure your dishes are done before you go to bed at night. Make sure, I do like having I like having the pre-workout. I actually got the idea from Clay. He talks about how he had like on one of the podcasts on his Tower of Power thing. He talked about he had a cup of cold coffee sitting on his bathroom sink. So when he gets in there, he just chugs the cup of coffee. He's like, I don't even drink coffee. I don't like coffee, but I chug it right away. I'm like, that's so awful. But I was like, I do like pre-workout. Pre-workout sits out pretty nicely. So I have a cup of pre-workout next to my bathroom sink. So as I'm getting up, I get my clothes on. I chug the bathroom.
And if you get the right pre-workout, the last thing you want to do is chug pre-workout. Your face starts tingling and then go back to sleep. Like, that's not gonna work.
It's not gonna happen. It's a crossing the Rubicon. It's a burning of the bridges in the morning. If you could get that pre-workout, you are not going back to bed. You're jacked. Absolutely. Definitely have a stimulant pre-workout. first thing in the morning, and you will not miss your workout. I guarantee it. Your heart rate's going to be through the roof no matter what anyway.
That's right.
This is so fun, you guys. We love doing this each week. Please keep sending us your content from the internet you think we should react to. Send it to Alpha Dad Show on Instagram or info@Alpha Dad Show. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you so much.